Hello and welcome to the video. Today we're going to take a look at the community day for June 2024 with Goomy. Of course, this was kind of already known, but we didn't know the attack yet. And this community day just actually got leaked because Niantic messed up again in terms of releasing their post. Every account basically released a post which was like linked to something that just did not even actually exist on their page. But some account apparently also posted already the pictures towards that one. And so we have this one here on Reddit right now. So this is actually not out officially, at least not while I'm recording this, but let's take a look here real quick on what the community day is all about. Featured attack is going to be Thunder Punch, which is beautiful, right? This is not really too good for this Pokemon, maybe. We're gonna take a look at this one afterwards as well, but I was hoping for just more. Like, honestly, Thunder Punch is a cool coverage move, of course, 40 energy, 55 power, but you already have great coverage moves and you're really kind of lacking a cheap-ish dragon type move on this Pokemon, but we want to take a look on how good this is going to be. You can also apparently only evolve Goodra when there is a rainy lure available, or when, yeah, the weather is rainy. I would imagine that they're gonna give us a rainy lure for sure, just like so we can evolve this Pokemon for free, most likely during the community day. We're going to have 2 times catch candy, 3 times catch Stardust, which is the best bonus. So definitely excited to play this community day throughout the 3 hours there. It's going to be an exciting one. 3-hour lures, yeah, otherwise nothing too crazy here, but at least 3 times catch Stardust, which is kind of exciting. And of course, we're going to have some field research rerolls. We're going to have the 4-star rates afterwards, which are most likely still bugged, which never happened for me. Like all the time when I try to do them, I never get like any Goomy spawns nearby, but that does not matter as long as Niantic gets their money. Anyway, let's take a look here at this Pokemon itself now. We are going to have the Goodra here, and we're also going to take a look today at the Hisuian Goodra, which is going to be a very interesting Pokemon that's not available in the game yet, but is just a regional form of Goodra, which is something that we're going to talk about here today as well. This is going to be the current form of Goodra, having an average rating of 472. I looked at it before already, and if you're going to give it Thunder Punch, it's actually going to increase the rating a little bit and give you 4 extra wins. Looks kind of great, right? But we're going to go a little bit more in depth into this kind of scenario anyway, which we're going to have here now with the Matrix mode. A lot of people actually kind of suggested me using this one instead, just to showcase different kind of matchups. And what we're going to see here is the standard moveset in the beginning, then Awkward Tail and Thunder Punch, which you just had, and then Thunder Punch as well as Power Whip and how it's going to be against the Great League meta. What you're going to see here already is that we're going to pick up apparently wins against Altaria, which also people saw like talking about, because now you have at least some neutral coverage against this Pokemon before Awkward Tail and also the, yeah, what's called Power Whip was actually resistant on it. And as you're going to see down there already, the differences are Altaria, Pelipper, Poliwrath, and another Poliwrath basically, in terms of the matchups that you're going to be able to win, and you don't lose a single one here, which seems kind of good on paper actually. So maybe this is not actually such a bad community day in general for Goodra, and this might be actually a move that you kind of want to have. So let's take a look here real quick at the 2-shield scenario as well. We can actually even make this real quick before we move on. I did not have the maximum stats on there yet. So you see here, for example, that one of the Poliwrath is going to change a little bit with the maximum stats. But if we're going to take a look at the 2-shield scenario, which also makes you a little bit spammier, you're going to win against the Poliwrath. And in the 0-shield scenario, you're going to be able to lose some matchups, and this kind of want to showcase as well. Here's the issue: Power Whip is a very strong move, especially in neutral matchups, and so I don't think that the that this move itself, Thunder Punch, is going to be as good as it shows in like the 1 and 2 shield scenario. I think it has some play, but I feel like it is more on par with the Power Whip, because Power Whip has a lot of potential to just have like closing power in a lot of scenarios, or you go for Draco Media as a secondary charge move. So I feel like Thunder Punch is kind of hit or miss, because as you're going to see as well, there are quite a lot of Pokemon that you're going to lose now against, because you just don't have really anything to hit them hard with. Awkward Tail is kind of fine, which is still the same damage as Thunder Punch, but for 5 less energy. But before, having a 90 damage move is kind of nice for this Pokemon. And so Goodra is losing way more matchups in the 0-shield scenario, which you can see as well with a 9-31-1 record, which is quite horrible. So if we're going to take a look here real quick at the Team Builder tool, we're going to see here the differences in the matchups again as well. And as you're going to see, there's barely any change. You can now win against the Pelipper. Here on the right side is, of course, the Power Whip and Thunder Punch variant, while Thunder Punch and Awkward Tail is in the middle. But it doesn't really change too much towards that. In the Ultra League, I feel like there might be even something different here. We're going to see, again, here I can put this to the maximum stat product, which is a little bit more accurate for most matchups. We're going to see that we can win against the Gyarados and the Mandibuzz, while we lose against the Umbreon and the Walrein. I feel like all 4 matchups are kind of pointless. I guess like Mandibuzz is still kind of something that you kind of want to beat with this Pokemon, but as you're gonna see here as well, you have the same win-loss record. We have a little bit of a better average rating in the 1-shield scenario, but I feel like in the 0-shield scenario as well, we're going to see here the same thing as before. It is quite worse than this than Power Whip, for example. And so I doubt that we're going to really see Thunder Punch having play outside of maybe the Great League, because otherwise it is just a worse move in total. And here again, like Thunder Punch is currently cool because you have some play against something like a Skarmory and stuff like this. But I feel like the meta is going to shift eventually anyway, and Thunder Punch is just in general a pretty garbage move, so I don't really think that this Community Day move is too great, other than like for the specific scenarios in the Great League right now. Everywhere else, you kinda most likely don't really want to have this one. Here we're gonna take a look real quick at the Master League as well. Master League is going to be interesting for this Pokemon as well, because it actually goes up to nearly 4000 CP, which I didn't know. I think this Pokemon has a little bit of a benefit because it is so defensively bulky and is still a pseudo-legendary that the stats perfectly didn't get the 9% nerf that you get if you hit 4000 CP at level 40. So Goodra kinda is in a very decent spot in terms of the stats right now, and so it's actually better than you might expect. But again, here we have like kinda similar picture. We can actually win against the normal Palkia, not the origin forms. Like that doesn't really matter anyway. Here it doesn't matter actually if you're gonna go for original IVs, because original IVs are always hundos. And as you're gonna see here, you're going to lose against something like a Giratina Altered or like an Ursaluna. And in the 0-shield scenario, you're going to actually win against Yveltal and Gyarados, but like you don't see either of them, and it is just better to have something kind of more neutral, or even go ahead and go for something like here the Awkward Tail and Draco Media in this kind of meta. So yeah, here as you're gonna see as well, like the Draco Media kind of helps quite a bit, and it's like the best move set for the Open Master League. What can I say? I don't really think that this is going to be a great Community Day move-wise. Of course, the Pokemon itself is a cool Pokemon. I would recommend you to build a Goodra, but is it really an upgrade? Honestly, I doubt it. Honestly, I just doubt it. Anyway, we're gonna take a look here today as well real quick at Sliggoo in the Hisuian variant, which is also available eventually, most likely in Pokemon Go, not currently, but like it's kind of fitting towards the topic, and I kind of want to make it more than just here Thunder Punch in this Community Day. So we have a little bit more in-depth stuff that you cannot actually, I think, currently take a look at on PvPoke, because I don't think these stats for this Pokemon are actually in there yet, but I of course can put them in. You're going to have Dragon Breath here that this Pokemon could learn, for example, as well. Oh yeah, here the Hisuian form actually here, Dragon Breath. We're going to have something like Dragon Pulse, we have Iron Head, we have Muddy Water. We don't actually have Dragon Claw because, what a surprise, this thing doesn't really have the biggest claws here for that one. And I don't think it learns Breaking Swipe either, so we kind of have only like very high energy moves like Outrage for this Pokemon. For the Hisuian Goodra, which actually looks kind of cool, I really want to see this Pokemon in game because I think it would be a good Pokemon to run. We're going to see a different kind of variant here, because you're going to see, of course, again, like Dragon Breath is still available for this Pokemon, but we're actually going to have Iron Head here as well, Body Slam, which is kind of nice, but we also have moves like, for example, if we go a little bit further down, Breaking Swipe available to this Pokemon, so this would be kind of a cool one for sure. And so let's take a look on how it compares to now the best moveset for Goodra, apparently, with Awkward Tail and Thunder Punch, just to have this in here, and we have the different kind of variants here. As you're gonna see, actually it has a little bit better bulk, but also it has now the Steel typing, which is quite important for this Pokemon. Same goes for the Sliggoo, which has even better bulk than the other two, and has still the Steel typing. Here we're gonna go for Outrage, but we're gonna take a look at some other things real quick afterwards as well. As you're gonna see here, the Hisuian variant is going to be hit or miss. It is kind of an interesting one, because we're gonna see here, it is going to be a little bit better in general, but you actually lose some more matchups because the meta is quite good against Steel types, which you most likely already realized as well. Like the Steel types that are currently good are Skarmory basically, and that's basically it. And Skarmory is only really good because it has the part Flying typing, because there are a lot of Fighting type Pokemon and a lot of Ground type Pokemon in the meta right now, like a Gligar, like an Annihilate. And so here, I still think that the Hisuian Goodra is going to be better most likely if they give it a decent moveset. But also Sliggoo does not really look too good for that. But if you're gonna go ahead and give this Pokemon Muddy Water, which still learns, we're gonna see a decent increase here as well. So hopefully they're gonna make Sliggoo a little bit better. I'm kind of sad that they don't make the normal Sliggoo better, because the normal Sliggoo is also quite a decent Pokemon based on the stats, as we're gonna see here, a little bit better than the Goodra, but sadly runs Water Gun and yeah, just garbage moveset sadly. But let's take a look here as well real quick on how this would be in comparison for the Open Great League. If we're gonna take a look at the team building in the 0 to 1 shield scenario, and like the 0 and 1 shield scenario, it's like average basically between those. We're gonna see here already, like Pokemon like Skarmory would be something that you can beat now, the LilyKatchum you can beat now, for Alligator you just have a better typing. You know the typing of course already from Dialga, but this is basically a bulky Dialga that can also work in the Great and Ultra League. And so I would imagine that the Hisuian Goodra is going to be quite decent. Here again you can use it as well in the open yeah, Ultra League then as well, and eventually as well, hopefully. I hope that they don't put this, by the way, as like a raid day, because like it might be a raid day for like the Hisuian Sliggoo or whatever. I hope that they just find a different way of releasing it. But as you're gonna see here, it is clearly better in the Ultra League than the normal variant. Also just with the like kind of standard moveset here for the Goodra. Of course, we don't know what they're gonna give it at the end of the day, but I feel like that's kind of a realistic one. And here's this here as well, again, like this Pokemon would dominate as well. But the cool thing as well is here that if you get the XL candy for this Pokemon, or just the normal candy for like the normal Goodra during this community day, this still counts for the Hisuian Goodra. It is a regional form, it is not something like the Wiglet, which is like of course a homage to Diglett, but like it is still a different Pokemon and you cannot use the candies. Here you definitely can use the candies for whenever this Pokemon gonna get released. And for the Master League, it's most likely going to be the biggest impact. Here we see it has lower CP stat because it is just a little bit bulkier than Goodra, and for the CP formula, attack is always the biggest weight of it. So that's also why, for example, for PvP, Pokemon that have like 0 attack stat just can get more bulk into the slot of like 1500 CP and the 2500 CP barrier, just because attack just gonna give you way more CP compared to like having higher stats in defense or HP. It's basically double the amount of CP you get for like one attack stat compared to like one defense / HP stat. And so we're gonna see as well that this Pokemon is going to be definitely better for the Master League. If we're gonna get this eventually, it's definitely going to be a very solid Pokemon to use. And if we're gonna compare it here again, we will see that this Pokemon is going to outplay the normal Goodra by far. So definitely make sure to go ahead, play this community day, get your XR candy. It does not really matter too much if you're going to not evolve your Goomy in time, because Thunder Punch, I saw some people being excited for Thunder Punch on Twitter. I think it has some potential in the Open Great League. I think for the other leagues you don't want this move. Like honestly, I don't think you really want to have Thunder Punch. It's just sadly a very bad move to have in terms of like damage output, because it's okay as coverage, but you kinda... yeah, it's just not really great. Like, honestly, it is not really great. So this is going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. I'm kind of still sad that Goodra didn't get, like, Breaking Stripe or Dragon Claw. I feel like Dragon Claw would be a little bit more balanced, but it is what it is. Niantic does Niantic kind of stuff. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.